Hello, this is Eileen, the environmental educator, who has the environmental solutions the world needs since November '93. It's just every environmental voice has prevented solutions. If you've been around here, sorry to bore you with that. But yeah, sorry, I don't like being Dave Hodges every 3 minute interview, the same like 30-second introduction. Are you kidding me? So, but that's actually really important for this video because Albie's out there making press again, and this is July 24th, 2022. He was just on Meet the Press, and he says climate change deniers are as bad as Ulvade cops who let the school massacre unfold. Oh, oh, that's very interesting because Al Gore is the person that has refused the solutions the world needs since shortly after November '93 when the environmental educator started. And this is my first email from him, his office, the director of correspondence, in '85 saying blah, 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 you know. The letter you sent to um, Gore to follow up on your previous correspondence has been received. So, they even acknowledge that I've been bothering them. And that's exactly, he further reviewed it and he's going to respond. He's convinced at this point the solution to my situation of Al Gore not allowing solutions is most likely to be found continuing to work with officials within the government. I'm talking to Al Gore's office, the vice president, who is the man out there screaming for solutions because the situation's so bad. But I guess he should have said other government here. I don't know. Or by seeking legal representation to what? Take Gore to court to get him to be the solution? Stop preventing the solution the world needs? Okay, yeah, okay. I'll get paper served to Gore. Sure, okay, sure. Okay, because you know what? I work in the tourist industry. I quit my real job and moved to Vail to ski, and it is an absolute bona fide sweatshop. It is the largest sweatshop in the world, the United States tourist industry. Okay, so I can assure you, you're not paying for legal representation, especially someone that could or would take on the vice president. Okay. In addition, the offices of senators and members of Congress have caseworkers who specialize in helping individuals with problems involving programs and agencies. Now, my problem is with Al Gore. Because Al Gore, and at this point it wasn't a problem, it was a situation. I guess it was a problem. Al Gore saying, we need solutions now. And this is almost 2 years after I probably started hitting him up to lead. Okay, so this is, November '93 to September '95. That's 22 months. So, okay. It's been a long time. This office has a very small staff to handle a large volume of mail, and we simply do not have the resources to intervene directly in individual cases. Well, I wasn't asking you to. All you had to do was give important mail to Gore. When somebody sends the vice president who has no solutions, and no one he knows has any solutions, but he's out there just screaming that we need solutions, and you send him the light years best environmental education and agenda that the world needs, you know what you do? You get it to the vice president. Okay. And then it gets funnier. Funnier. I mean, this isn't funny. This is just horrendous. Even so, the vice president is committed to changing the way government functions so that it is more responsive to the needs of the American people. So instead of going out and giving the world the solutions Al's screaming for, he's going to change the way government functions so that it can at some point give solutions. Okay? Because Al himself, I guess, can't. Okay, so we genuinely hope that you find an appropriate resolution for your situation. Oh, okay. Well, that's very nice that they hope. But see, right there, they should have solved the problem. And then in 98, now I got a letter from Gore himself, which is because I met Joe Kennedy randomly, and he didn't even like me at first. No, that's very true. He hung up on me. It was a phone call I just randomly picked up at work in Vale, and 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 he called me back and he said, well, he ended the first phone call telling me that I'm a congressman. I was like, oh, okay. He had already told me his name, and I was like, what are the odds this is the Joe Kennedy? But anyways, he wanted me to be really chipper at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was just being let's get this tax done. I mean, I wasn't being offensive, but I wasn't like going along with Chipper at 2 a.m. in the morning. Okay. And so, and he was trying harder and I was still not giving it to him. So he got mad and I'm a congressman, and he hung up. And then he called back and, he said, my wife made me call you back and apologize. I swear to God. And he will tell you that's true if anybody ever asked him. His wife probably will. His wife at the time, I don't know what he's done in terms of marriages. Yeah, she'll probably remember it, okay? She made him call me back. And I said, well, Joe, tell your wife. Yeah, I played a little part in that, I guess. And so we started talking, and Joe could not put down the phone for 2.5 hours. It was 4:30 in the morning his time. No, 6:30 in the morning his time, 4:30 in the morning my time, when he was like, listen, man, like, I'm in my office in the Capitol. My wife's been working with me all night long. Like, I got to go get ready for the day. I'm like, oh, okay. So, he's like, man, I'm going to get this to Al. I'm like, get it to Bobby. He never, never, never said, yeah, man, Bobby too. Like, no, no, no. He never replied to it. Never even acknowledged I said it. That just got nothing, okay? But Gore, definitely, definitely, definitely. After 2.5 hours, after he didn't even like me at first, he couldn't put down the phone, literally, okay? But here, so I got this letter. Now that was January 98, so then I got this, in November of 98, yeah, I can be sure that, my letter has been read thoroughly, and that my comments carefully considered. Uh, I will be keeping your views in mind as I work with the president to accomplish those goals of particular importance to the American people. Oh, okay, that's good. Then stop putting off solutions, Al. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, our number faces a number of critical challenges that need the undivided attention of our people and our elected officials. Well, how about it, Al? Or both political parties. Right here, now that this is pure comedy. For my part, I fully intend to keep my focus continuing on the solid record of achievement that has characterized this administration since we first took office. And since then, I have had endless emails to Gore. Gore, seriously, the only thing you're going to be doing is screaming louder for more desperately needed solutions if you don't get on the solutions the world needs, which is mine. And guess where we are? 3 decades later. Oh, exactly there. Screaming louder for more desperately needed solutions, with Al Gore still blaming everybody else for not having solutions, when it is Al Gore that has prevented them since shortly after November 93. Okay? So, yeah. And he extends me his best wishes. That is so very nice of Al Gore. And he, gave the world the finger, I guess we could say. And so then in 99, yep, again, thank you for sending me information about your proposal. Now, I don't have all the correspondence. This is decades ago. I used to live somewhere in the winter, go somewhere in the summer, fit everything I owned in my car. And so, no, do I have all of that paper? No, 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 no. Okay, but right here, he says, I presented him a proposal. Okay, voila, the proposal. Solutions that would have solved our problem long ago, and Al Gore wouldn't be in your face anymore. Okay, and so he is impressed with my hard work and commitment to the ideas contained in the material you provided me. Right? Oh, okay. Right. And thank you for bringing this proposal to my attention. And where's Albie today, all these years later? Oh, here we go. Let's play this.
We have to have unity as a nation to come together and stop making this a political football. It shouldn't be a partisan issue.
It's interesting. Public sentiment on climate is certainly in some ways growing more urgent. And you've made notice that rank and file Republicans are growing more concerned about the climate. But public opinion is on one side on abortion, is on one side on guns, is on one side on climate, and yet you see that it hasn't mattered to some of the decisions that are made in our politics. How do you break through this?
Well, you're exactly right, and public sentiment is changing, but our democracy is broken, and in order to solve the climate crisis, we're going to have to pay attention to the democracy crisis. The same reason that it's seemingly impossible for the Congress to pass legislation banning these weapons of war, these assault rifles that are being used to murder children in classrooms and create hundreds of mass casualty events already this year, and that's getting worse. The same reason we can't pass legislation to, for example, reinstate the ban on assault weapons is the same reason that we can't pass climate legislation. We have a minority government. We have the filibuster still, which ought to be eliminated. We have big money playing much too large a role in our politics, lobbyists for the fossil fuel industry, and they're still running all of these advertisements trying to convince people that it's not that bad or they've got this, don't worry about it. We have got to rise to this challenge, Chuck.
Oh, and how long has Gore been saying that? Decades. Oh, so in that video, let me see, our democracy is the problem, and then it's like that school in Texas, and a lot of bad things happened because no one went in and gave a solution. And how many storms? And, with massive damage and destruction, complete devastation and deaths has happened since November 93, when Al Gore has been refusing the solutions the world needs. Nobody knows who I am, but I put out a book, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 years ago. I knew no one would read it. No, not a single person has until the day I get my global break. Okay, but the title of it, Stop Terrorism, U.S. Style, Greenhouse Gases or Weapons of Mass Destruction too. Now that is not the hysteria of, all the climate crazy, climate lunatics that Mike Adams talks about and Alex Jones and everybody else, okay? And that, weapons of mass destruction are coming in and creating all these storms and are going to wipe out all the farming that the New World Order is doing, okay? And it's just going to do this, that, and the other thing, okay? Could it? Potentially, that's not my shtick because I have solutions to prevent it. But what this means here is that, according to Gore and friends and every environmental voice out there, they constantly say that greenhouse gases are going to create these horrendous events that they say happens and they attribute to not having solutions, okay? And these events are going to happen and keep happening and getting worse and worse and worse if we don't have solutions. So You know, I've even tried to get this investigated. That's why, people, associated with Gore love me because, yeah, I'm like, how is this not terrorism? Just tell me how it's not. U.S. law is not preventing terrorism is terrorism. And if you are saying that we need solutions because otherwise horrendous and horrible things are going to happen, the equivalent of an act of terrorism. Like if somebody went and planted something that went boom and these bad things happened, the same things that happened from the storms, yeah, they would be charged with terrorism. So how is withholding the solutions the world needs, which is then, according to you, Al Gore, creating all these events, not terrorism? Okay, Al Gore. So he equates it to you'll grade, and then oh my God, it's the members of Congress, and we need legislation. We don't need legislation, okay? Legislation. That's oh my God. We just need the solutions that Al Gore and every environmental voice you know of has refused since November of '93. And so, I replied to Meet the Press here. Gore's of Preventing Solutions Fraud since '94. Characters prevented equal to end environmental illiteracy and disposable society, homes, fast food, stadium concessions, and packaging and transportation packaging. Hemp, Trump legalized and can be used for everything. Report real news, which Meet the Press never will. Okay, now if you go to Meet the Press website, you can go all the way down to the bottom here, and the only thing that you're going to find for contact is this, and it's a submit a form. Okay, let me tell you how NBC prioritizes things. Here, the first choice is NBC.com, USA Network, NBC Universal. The second choice is the Voice official application, America's Got Talent application, America's Song Contest form, broadcast and offline platforms. But three things about Let's Make a Music Star. One thing about all of the news there is out there. And then right here, your choices of email, episodes or seasons are missing. I want to access content without cable. I'm having trouble with my account. Technical issues, feedback, and I don't require assistance or questions about an issue with accessibility for disability. Those are your choices. Not to a show. I have positive feedback, negative feedback, ideas, comments, suggestions, other feedback. So I guess ideas, comments, suggestions, my platform. And they asked what like NBC Universal, NBC, and then it asked you what the browser, as if I'm presenting a technical issue here. So I just filled this in. I said, Meet the Press must report this truth they are being given. Gore's of Preventing Environmental Solutions Fraud since '93. It's your job, Chuck Todd, to give the world this truth. No news will. Project Veritas censors this truth too. Do your job, environmentaleducator.org. And, so I'm sure that will get to Todd. Yeah, just like, my emails keep not getting to Gore. This is Gore's office, the Carthage Group, James Hunsberger, and April 28th, 2017. They're unable to assist me with my request. They just can't. They're just, Al Gore isn't interested in solutions. Don't bother Al Gore with solutions. Please consider taking action that can be of use as opposed to sending pointless emails the same day, just a different time. Yes, because sending Al Gore the solutions, Al Gore is out there saying for decades the world needs, that he has proven he doesn't have, But, we just have to.
We have to have unity.
Why do we have to always listen to them? Because no news will tell you the truth. Okay? The propaganda outlets since the early 90s, all of the independent media since they started. So right here tonight, I sent to, this is Infowars, Mike Adams at the Situation Update, Project Veritas, and on the Carthage Group, Al Gore, right here. So, Infowars ran an article with Gore blaming Congress, our democracy, etc., for not having environmental solutions. As usual, Infowars censored the most important part of this story, which is Gore is a preventing solutions fraud since 94, 93, 94, which is truth the world needs. Infowars has censored for over a decade. Before Mike Adams gets on the bandwagon on this story, remember, Mike, you too have been censoring this truth. So start reporting it to your audience. Then Project Verification, because that's really what they are. They verify what we already know. O'Keefe, what we all suspected. No, what we already know, James. We already know. Okay? You're not telling us anything. Okay? But this right here would be a story. The world doesn't suspect this. Okay? But will Project Veritas do it? No. I have a bunch of videos about that out there. So, I'm like, you are the same horrendous news organization as CNN, Meet the Press, and even the independent truth media. Okay? They're absolutely, then I go, someone do your job. Gore, stop being a global eco-terrorist and causing massive destruction, devastation, and death. You say happens because we don't have environmental solutions. Infowars, Mike Adams, Project Verification. The world needs to know Gore's a fraud. They don't care. They don't care, but I tried. So, until maybe a judge makes Project Veritas do their job, and/or just makes James O'Keefe go out and apologize for a lot of the fraudulent statements he has misled you to believe Project Veritas is and does, and even apologies to some other people that he's, gone out and humiliated on tape, and Project Veritas acts the same or worse. Okay, yeah. So, that would help expose this too. So we'll see. But until then, until I get a judge to make Project Veritas, good luck. Good luck with that. I can try. All the news will continue. Even all the people that criticize Gore, they will continue to, censor this. Yeah, they're just out there. All they do is talk about his net wealth in here. Yep. They say he's worth $300 million because he's been investing in and has something that invests in clean energy. Okay, and where has clean energy gone? Really nowhere to make somebody. It has $36 billion in assets, but it hasn't really done enough to make anybody $300 million. But this is Al Gore out there again, fraudulently pretending like everybody else is the problem when he is, and no press, including your beloved independent media and Project Veritas, will tell you this. So stay tuned, people.